A boy enters the class to confess to her crush but is horrified to find her spreading the large wings on her back. Is there someone in this universe without a secret? Perhaps it would be easier to communicate with others if a person bore no secret. These are exact thoughts going through a young student's head while he was heading to his classroom to confront a girl. Just as he reaches the door, Kuramine Asahi stops for a deep breath and motivates himself to face the green-haired girl. However, they are both astounded when they face each other. Asahi plays a card game with his friends, but he is easy to read and they easily beat him. It is revealed that Asahi's nickname is the Holy Basket due to his inability to keep a secret. As a result, everyone tries to avoid him except his friends. They assure him that even if no one is lending him an ear, it will always be there for him, though Asahi quickly realizes that they are just poking fun at him. Afterward, a student, Shirogami Yako, stands up to translate a paragraph and Asahi's gaze is instantly drawn toward her. He reveals that there is just one secret he has managed to keep to himself, and that is falling in love with the mysterious student Yako. She comes early in the morning and doesn't talk to anyone. Someone like Asahi would be obviously attracted to her, moth-like in their attraction of fire. Suddenly, she sees him and he immediately loses his calm. The teacher is enraged and instructs him to stand up with the class rep. Ezawa Nagisa volunteers in his place and tells him to make his mind available next time. After the class is over, Asahi is still thinking about Yako and is wondering how he could get close to her, but he doesn't have the courage to do so. Even during PE class, he continues staring at her and recalls seeing her tanned, assuming that she does go out. However, the lack of focus brings him another tragedy. While they are having a chat after the classes are over, his friend Akata suddenly asks whether he's going to confess to Yako. This is an extreme shock to Asahi, who believed he did well keeping this as a secret. His friends tell him that he is an open book, his eyes always staring at her, instantly giving it away. They encourage him to confess immediately and recall how he was rejected by Nagisa in the first year before he even had a chance to confess. Since he isn't losing anything by confessing, he heads off to see Yako in their class. After he goes, Okada reveals to the other two that he still has some hope considering how Yako stares at him often. He gets ready to enter the classroom but is astonished to find her spreading her wings. She thought there would be no one at school, so she decided to finally relax, but now her whole secret is exposed. She wants to believe that he didn't see her, but even after he denies everything, his face gives it away. After she reveals her Kansai dialect and how her fangs are exposed when talking to people, Asahi falls even more in love with her. Meanwhile, his friends begin to suspect that he has been rejected since he doesn't come back. Soon, the president of the newspaper club meets them, inquiring about Asahi as she gathers secrets of various students from him. His friends aren't going to sell him this time and runs away from her. In the classroom, she admits that she is a vampire, prompting Asahi to ask why she isn't turning to ashes. The other reveals that instead of ashes, she gets extremely tanned. Much to his shock, Yako reveals that she will have to leave the school now that her secret is out. Her parents only allowed her to attend the school on the condition that she doesn't reveal anything about her identity. Asahi blames himself for this, but the other assures him that he didn't do anything at all and that the fault lies with her. Yako tells him that she had fun simply attending the school, but Asahi doesn't think so, as she always isolated herself from others. Asahi promises that even though he hasn't been good at keeping secrets, he will force every fiber of his being to shut his mouth forcefully about this. He lends a hand of friendship to her, and the other with a flowing tear accepts his request. Asahi is glad that he finally managed to find a secret that he has to keep to himself. Asahi has always dreamt of walking to a station with a girl, and now that he is friends with Yako, he believes he can fulfill his dream. Suddenly, the other approaches him, and rather than being shocked by his statement, she is also looking forward to heading in the same direction as him, as a friend. Asahi regrets digging his own grave, and there is no way he can go back on his words. Later, while they are returning home, Asahi fears that he will accidentally open his mouth and spill the tea, but the other assures him that his trying so hard is enough. Her school should have already been over the day he found out about her, yet she still has the opportunity to attend classes. While they are talking, Izawa spots them from afar. In the class, his friends are mocking him that he probably got rejected, but after he reveals that he became friends with her, everyone is shocked. After the teacher enters, Izawa starts lecturing her on being so late to the class. Asahi is still staring at Yako, prompting Izawa to recall rejecting him. She tells him to find another path to be successful and wonders whether he took her advice by hanging out with Yako. Unsure, she starts pondering uselessly, and eventually, she questions whether he even had feelings for her before she rejected him. Asahi suddenly feels a creeping aura unleashed, and after turning his eyes, he is horrified to find her glaring at him. Izawa reaches the conclusion that he knows her secret and confronts him after the class to confirm it. However, he admits that he had feelings back then, but he has moved on, prompting her to disrespect him in front of the school, and his friends have to carry him away. Even though she didn't mean it that way, she still feels bad about it. Asahi and Yako are finally alone after the classes, and she can eat her lunch peacefully now. Asahi is confused due to the myth about vampires sucking blood, and the other tells him that it is considered sexual harassment in vampire society. They only like the blood of those they are in love with, much like kissing. After she finishes eating the meal, Yako still feels empty, and surprisingly, someone has put up snacks on his desk. However, it is too spicy for her, and she unconsciously spreads her wings. Asahi reaches the door to make sure no one is there and finds Aizawa outside. After seeing Yako's wings, she suddenly turns into a mini Aizawa, revealing that she is an alien who uses Earth as their base of operations. She suspects Yako belongs to another foreign planet and orders her to reveal her planet. After realizing that they both have given away their secret identities, they lament their idiocy. She's using the big Aizawa as a mecha so she can operate normally without being suspected of some interplanetary being. She assures Yako that she will protect her identity as she is good at it, prompting Asahi to point out that she gave away her own identity on a whim. Aizawa reveals that she has a tool that allows her to erase memories of humans and pulls out a hammer. He tries reasoning with her, but it is no use as she is dead bent set on smashing his head. She is distracted by Yako pointing out that he has two secrets, enabling him to run away. She quickly runs after him, telling him to stop as her ass will be spanked in case it is found out that she is pathetic at protecting herself. The other isn't buying anything until she assures him that she will only erase Yako's secrets so her identity can be protected. He agrees to it, and she realizes how much he is in love with her. Just as she is about to hit him, Yako catches up to them, lecturing him on putting himself in danger for her sake. She is glad to have made a friend at school and doesn't want to lose him. Seeing as he is doing everything to keep the secret, Aizawa decides to let him go. Yako finally remembers the rumors from last year about Asahi being in love with Aizawa, and he can only demonstrate his disappointment at how absent-minded she is. Aizawa is also shocked that despite appearing so mature, she doesn't have any idea how much the other loves her. 8B Mikan has captured his friends and wants to know about his relationship with Yako. They inform her that he got friends on, and she is convinced that they can't offer anything more. Her gaze turns over to Asahi, who is hiding behind the tree, and catches him. She has found evidence, and it only gives rise to more misunderstandings. He tells her that they are nothing more than friends, and as she believes that he can never hide anything from her, she stops interviewing him. Asahi worries that she will interview Yako next, which might make things worse, and heads over to the class to warn her. He is shocked to find her seat empty and quickly asks the teacher, who informs him that she is absent due to cold and gives him handouts to deliver to her. Even the teacher is surprised that they are friends considering how pathetic he is. Later, he is once again pursued by Mikan, and Aizawa comes to his rescue. She instructs him to go to Yako's house while she finds a way to stop Mikan. As he reaches the destination, he finds bats flying around her apartment, and she is ready to pick him up. Asahi is surprised that she was aware of his arrival since she was just cleaning the room for him. After she insists that he come inside, Asahi obliges and feels embarrassed that he is stepping inside a girl's bedroom for the first time. Just as he is set to leave her apartment, he gets a call from Aizawa, who informs him that Mikan is heading to his location due to her recklessness. Suddenly, he overhears a noise from Yako's room and finds the unconscious Mikan, who thought jumping inside through the window was a great idea. The following day at school, she has written an article on him and Yako and wants to publish it so everyone knows about their secret relationship. Asahi heads off after her and encounters Yako in the hallway, who isn't yet aware of the article. She senses that something is causing him worries, but he doesn't reveal anything. After he goes away, Akata approaches her, asking about the photo to see her reaction, and she reveals a flustered face. Outside, he isn't having luck finding Mikan, so Akata instructs him to go to the rooftop where she is awaiting him. Mikan intends to throw the articles away from the roofs so more students can have a look at the work, but he begs her to stop it. Since she enjoys bullying him, he recalls Akata's advice and tells her to do whatever she wishes. He will happily enjoy reading the article. Mikan is astonished that he has changed so much and runs away in disappointment since she doesn't want him to be happy. Meanwhile, Mikan's glasses are possessed by a spirit, to whom she reveals that the reason she annoys Asahi is so she can always remain friends with him. Their instructor catches Shimada reading an adult magazine, and he tells her that it belongs to Asahi. She instructs Aizawa to set them up for punishment, but is surprised to find her seat empty. She inquires about her but doesn't get an answer. Suddenly, Asahi gets hit from behind and finds the mini Aizawa waving at him. She reveals that her bigger version is out of charge and she needs his help in taking her body to the infirmary to recharge. After she instructs him to get out of the class, Asahi asks how could such a thing happen, and she reveals that his discussing something seen with Yako was the cause of it. He recalls this conversation and tells her that they were just talking about a movie, much to her surprise. She takes him to the girl's bathroom, and as embarrassing as it be, he has no choice but to comply with her request. Asagi is amazed to find how soft her body is, almost like she is a living human. After she guides him to a safe location, Yako stumbles upon them and they take her to the infirmary where they recharge the main body. The three are eventually met up by Mikan, who is bewildered to have come across Izawa's figurine. However, there are still some doubts in her mind as the figure keeps moving. Suddenly, Shimada arrives as well, and the two perverts are looking forward to lifting her skirt and analyzing the figurine properly. To protect her identity, Asagi claims to be the creator of the figurine, and they start throwing questions about his morals. After he runs away with Aizawa, the others chase him down, with Shimada even heading to the bathroom after him. The two eventually hide in the gym storage shed, where Aizawa mysteriously transforms into her bigger version, with the antenna on top of her head. The others aren't letting them away, forcing Asagi to devise a plan and telling her to hit him so she can get away. As they are about to hammer the door, Asagi is sent flying outside, and Aizawa reveals that she got angrier due to him making a figurine based on her. As everyone's attention is drawn to him, Aizawa manages to get away. The mysterious person reverts her back into her smaller form, and she has to hide from Akata. Later, while Asagi and Yako are returning to their homes, she spots them and laments that it isn't her who is walking beside Asagi, making herself question whether she has feelings for him. Even though they live near each other, the two haven't walked back home together until now. Asagi notices that she uses the normal umbrella and offers his parasol so she can avoid the sunlight, but the other assures him that the broadcaster predicted rainfall and she will be better off with the usual umbrella. However, instead of rain, heavy sunlight greets her and turns her extremely tanned. Izawa notices her tan skin and inquires about it. To hide the fact from her, she excuses that she went off to the beach, which resulted in. Aizawa isn't so dumb to fall for such a thing, and once Asagi arrives, they make up a plan to train Yako. After training her for various days, the three go out to see the results, and she uses the shadows to her advantage. In the market, they stumble upon various things that could potentially harm her, but Asagi is there to protect her, though she is amazed to find that crosses aren't lethal to vampires. However, their quest comes to an end when they have to cross a bridge with no shadows, and even after they advise that she wears some protective attire, she decides to get tan instead. Suddenly, the idea of sunscreen pops into their heads, and Yako is embarrassed that she never used it, although she lies that she has been using it but wasn't working. The following day, they are amazed to find her training in the PE class, and after they track her down to inquire about the cause, it is revealed that she finally tried the sunscreen product. Now that she can go out and enjoy her days without worries, Yako invites Asagi and Aizawa to an amusement park so the three can spend some time together. She was trying to help the two of them hook up as she believed they had feelings for each other, completely neglecting the fact that Asagi is head over heels for her. On the other hand, Aizawa intentionally didn't choose to go, but also has some lingering feelings in her heart that make her upset at the thought of Asagi and Yako being together. At the park, the two suffer on the roller coaster, but Yako is a masochist and she wants to enjoy herself more. She takes him to the House of Horror, where she lectures the vampire on ethics. Afterwards, she revealed that the reason she wanted to come to this park was because her parents also used to date each other here, and their circumstances were similar to theirs. Elsewhere, Yako's father doesn't believe that Asagi can keep a secret, and instructs the werewolf, Shiro, to find out about it, and in case the beans have already been spilled, bring her back home. While they are returning home, Asagi can't help but think about her childhood friend, the Wolfman, that she was talking about. Suddenly, Yako stops and exits Shiro, who is here to check up on them and find out whether Asagi has found out her secret. His appearance immediately gives away his identity, and Asagi decides to keep quiet about it. Shiro is heartbroken when he finds out that they are on a date, but Yako quickly assures him that they are just friends, tearing Asagi's heart apart. Shiro asks Yako whether he knows the secret, but she lies about it. He then confronts Asagi about it, but even after he lies, it is evident on his face that he knows about both of their identities, and Shiro wants to teach him a lesson so he would distance himself from his crush. Suddenly, Asagi points up toward the moon and he starts transforming. Asagi is bewildered that instead of turning into a werewolf, he transforms into a pretty woman, Shiho, who immediately starts teasing him. Meanwhile, Asagi regrets not going to the amusement park but also feels it was for their best. To make up for it, she makes a homemade cake as an apology to Yako and heads over to her place. She can't help but imagine various scenarios when contemplating how their date went. At Yako's room, Shiho is surprised that it is so clean for the first time and quickly realizes that it is due to Asagi's visit. Yako informs Asagi that Shiho and Shiro are two distinct personalities, with one being a pervert and the other bragging about violence. Asagi is unsure whether Shiho is a boy or a girl, giving her an opportunity to flirt with him. Asahi is curious about the nature of her personality, and she reveals that Shiho is the dominant one as she is always conscious. Yako is irritated by her continuous flirting and shows her a picture of the moon, immediately transforming her. Asahi witnesses a series of misfortune as Aizawa barges in finding with a girl and then with a man, making her question whether he is bisexual. The following day at school, they explain everything to Aizawa to clear out the confusion. However, they are astonished to find that Shiho has transferred and is the new transfer student at school. Asahi starts nose bleeding after being continuously teased by Shiho's body at school, while Aizawa becomes envious. When the two witness a young girl with horns going by, Asahi flees to meet with Yoko. Soon after, Yoko chooses to talk directly with the girl, who introduces herself as Akane Komodo, a cousin of their homeroom teacher, Akari Komodo. Akari then appears to drag Akane back to her office, where Asahi and Yoko discover that Akane is a 1,000-year-old demon with genuine horns and Akari's great-great-grandmother. Akane also states that it was her initiative that permitted the numerous supernatural characters to be included in the same class. Despite Akane's efforts to present herself as an adult, Yoko continues to entice her with snacks and pretends to be the more sensible girl. The two ladies then plan to hold a sexy contest in the empty school gym, with Shiho serving as the announcer and Asahi obliged to serve as the judge due to his nosebleed responses. Meanwhile, Aizawa begins following enigmatic demonic energy emanating from her cat-like spaceship somewhere in the city. Iko and Akane compete in many competitions to establish their attractiveness, but Asahi always gets the biggest response from Shiho's acts. A seductive posture contest, swimsuit contest, dancing contest, and costume contest were among the events. Finally, Yoko dares Akane to taste the horrible cream puffs that Mikan created earlier. The contest concludes with Yoko and Akane exploding the gym and sending Aizawa's spaceship fleeing from the blast. Due to missing the last lesson, Asahi learns he must repeat the culinary arts class. He is thrilled when he finds out that Yoko, Aizawa, and Shiho will be helping him make curry, but he quickly discovers that all three girls struggle to make it. Aizawa's instructions lead her to create a chocolate cake, which is unintentionally thrown out a neighboring window and caught by Akane with her horn. She falls in love with it after having a taste. Mikan plans to purchase food for Akane in the hopes of landing an interview, but Akane flees until Akari enters and drags her back to the home economics room. Both ladies are horrified to discover that Yoko and Aizawa were too excited and added something to the curry that caused it to emit deadly gas. Later that night, Akane tears down Akari's apartment wall and demands that she fetch Aizawa to make her more chocolate. When Akari refuses, Akane replies by magically directing an asteroid toward Earth and threatening to destroy it. Iko, Aizawa, and Shiho rejoin to manufacture chocolate in the same room, but Akari realizes that when Akane loses focus, the asteroid veers off course, so she binds her to a chair and force-feeds her chocolates prepared by everyone except Aizawa. Even though Akane attempts to duplicate herself in order to get Aizawa's chocolate, the other girls manage to beat off Akane's clones until she loses enough concentration that Aizawa's companions in outer space force the asteroid to turn around, sparing Earth from annihilation. Asahi summons the courage to ask Yoko to the pool now that it's summer. The issue is that Yoko doesn't know how to swim and believes Asahi is asking her so they can both practice. To Asahi's chagrin, Yoko asks both Aizawa and Shiho to join them, as well as Asahi's three friends. Shiho instructs the swimming class with Aizawa as her helper, but her Lu teachings land Shimada in hot water. Aizawa knocks her unconscious and takes her position as a teacher, naturally in a military way, but her teaching style almost drowns both Yoko and Asahi. Mikan then appears with her two younger brothers and without her camera for once. For the first time, she reveals a gentler side while discussing Asahi. Asahi and Yoko both make excuses and desert the group after the pool shuts and everyone's on their way home, meeting at the school that evening. It turns out that Yoko wants to keep up her swimming training in the school pool. After some more practice, Yoko tells Asahi about how her parents started swimming and how her life has improved since she and Asahi met. But things take an awkward turn when they begin to call each other by their first names for the first time while Akane is covertly watching. Asahi's friends have invited him and Yako to join them in a new restaurant, but Yako feels reluctant as her fangs show up whenever she eats, although she still decides to accept the invitation. While they are eating, she unconsciously starts flapping her wings, worrying Asahi. With all of them around, he can't tell her directly and helps her in whatever way he can. After Shimada points out how the waitress's skirts are short, they soon find out that Mikan also works here and is enthusiastic about serving Yako a delicious meal. Asahi doesn't think it's a good idea and he protects her. Seeing Yako's worried face, Akata assures her that they can take care of Asahi and that she doesn't need to constantly worry about him. At school, they encounter Mikan, who is distressed about losing her glasses but doesn't want to ask for anyone's help. Asahi and Yako notice this and choose to help her with Aizawa soon joining them. After Aizawa informs her of Asahi's kindness, Akane soon reveals that she is the main culprit here. The two start running after her, and once they catch up to her, she uses magic tricks to deceive them, though Asahi points out the shallowness of her tricks. Suddenly, Akari commands her to enter the class, and Mikan gets her glasses back. Aizawa finds out that the glasses can talk, and Mikan takes her out to reveal everything. The glasses, Fuku can see into her memories and reveal how she got these glasses from Asahi and how she fell in love with him. She assures Aizawa that she no longer has a crush on him. With the glasses, the goddess of fortune knows all about her and tells her that she is going to confess her true feelings if she puts on glasses in front of Asahi. Even though she doesn't want to wear them to hide her embarrassment, she is forced to try them out when Asahi gets too close. Aizawa quickly snatches them to put on herself, and the glasses confess the love on Aizawa's behalf. Yako tricks Asahi and Aizawa into coming to the summer festival together. While they are secretly watching over them, Aizawa doesn't feel like continuing since she is alone with Asahi, but he assures her that Yako must be somewhere around. She decides to trust him, and the two wander around to partake in various activities. Meanwhile, Shiho and Yako encounter Mikan, who decides to follow Asahi as well. After Aizawa buys ice cream for the two, the shopkeeper mistakes them for a couple, embarrassing her. Suddenly, she spots Yako and runs after her. Just as she is about to tumble down, Asahi jumps in to rescue her, and his entire face is filled up with ice cream. Aizawa slowly leans on him, revealing that she has feelings for him. Ever since the incident at the festival, Aizawa has been avoiding Asahi. He tries approaching her, but she quickly leaves before he even says a word. Outside, he encounters Mikan, who tells him that it is his fault, as he hugs her in front of everyone. He doesn't understand this, as he was just trying to help, and she just accidentally fell into his arms. Meanwhile, Yako hasn't been really herself ever since seeing them hug together, and Akane tries bringing her back to reality. She tries gaslighting her into believing that she is actually in love with Asahi and that the other has feelings for her as well, but even after she snaps back, Yako isn't falling for her words. She is embarrassed that somebody thinks of her relationship with Asahi as intimate and heads off. Outside, Akane appears in the guise of Asahi, assuring Yako that she is her only love, but Yako sees through it and decides to ignore him. However, it backfires as the other starts cloning herself and producing multiple copies of Yako and Asahi, sending them on dates. Embarrassed, Yako heads off to have a deep breath beside the river, but she isn't safe there either, as the other once again tries manipulating her. This time, Akane has come prepared. She's even tied up Akari so that she doesn't interfere with her business. However, Akari manages to show up in time to save Yako and take the other away. Afterward, the real Asahi shows up, intending to apologize for the incident at the festival. However, the other leaves before even hearing him. Asad's friends notice that he has been feeling down lately, and he reveals that Yako is keeping herself distant from him. She also regrets not spending the time with him and absent-mindedly ignoring him. Shiho offers advice, but not without sexually harassing her afterward. Aizawa is disappointed that the two are avoiding each other because of her and resolves to apologize for her mistake. However, she encounters their headmaster, Akane, who tries to harass her by spreading the photo. She quickly runs away, but Akari is there to stop her, and she takes her away so Akane can focus on her duties. Aizawa collects the photo and decides to keep it with herself as a treasure, but soon the others arrive, demanding what she is hiding. To erase the evidence, she swallows the whole photo and gets herself in a weird position with Asahi, allowing you to mistake it for kissing. Before he can clear out the confusion, she runs away. Later, Asahi has a dream about Yako informing him about leaving the school and starting a new life. The following day at school, Asahi approaches Yako to sort out the situation, but as she is in a hurry, they decide to meet up on the rooftop after the classes. His friends believe that she is probably announcing their friendship breakup and tell him to confess before he rejects it. He gains enough confidence and heads off to meet her. Aizawa doesn't want him to confess, and Mikan advises that she better reveal her feelings before Yako. She heads off to stop Asahi from reaching Yako, using everything in her arsenal. However, she realizes that his love for Yako far surpasses that of her own. As Asahi reaches the rooftop, he finds a giant bat carrying Yako away. Asahi realizes that Yako's father has found out about the secret and she won't attend school again. With Aizawa's assistance, he resolves to rescue her. Aizawa and the others decide to help him go to Yako's mansion, and thanks to Akane's power, they easily make it there in time. However, she costs Akari her car. Aizawa has come prepared, and they infiltrate the mansion only to find a giant walking outside of a room. Shiho tells them that it is Yako's father. He is curious about their relationship with his daughter, but before he can ask anything important, Yako comes out of the room and Aizawa instructs Asahi to take her away while she throws a garlic at him to distract him. Soon after, Yako reveals that all of this is a misunderstanding and she is just here because her mother is sick. Her father appears and he finds out that Yako's secret is out. Since he is enraged, Yako takes Asahi away to his room where she apologizes for avoiding him. Asahi apologizes as well and tells her that everything that happened before her eyes was just one side of the story and she is mistaken. Suddenly, her father tries entering the room, but the barrier cast by her prevents it. While it is pretty evident that her father can destroy, there is someone else more powerful than him in the house and he has to obey Yako's mother's request. Afterward, Azawa spots the two of them in a weird position and immediately pulls out her hammer. Asahi decides to make up with Yako's father and tells him to erase his memories to protect his daughter's secret. As her father wants to test him, he demands that he erase all of her memories, but Yako stops him, revealing how grateful she is for spending time with him. Their father pretends to have his own memories erased and lets his daughter continue attending the school. The following day, Yaki heads back to the school and her father is pleased that she has found good friends. Will they reveal their true feelings for each other? What do you think? Let us know in the comments. For more, leave us a like and subscribe to our channel for more.